Bengel was tapping right along with me, so we have the whole stage going here. Thank you, band. Next, I'd like to introduce a former graduate of Bengel, Westphalia. She was one of my students, and she went on and had a great career with GM, but that wasn't her whole story. And when we interviewed her for the position here at PW, I remember we sat back as a team, and after she interviewed, her experiences, her life experiences, her work experiences, and just the quality of person she was, we sat back and said, we've got to have this person in our school district. We have to have her interacting with our students. And so, we hired her. And we've been blessed to have her. So I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Kerri Bengel.
Thank you very much. First of all, congratulations. You guys did it. You're here, right? Tell me you were smiling. Hey, smile. Thank you for having me. All right, you all hear me? Okay. Thank you for having me. All right, I really am extremely honored that you asked. A little bit shocked. I thought most of you were sick of hearing me talk a long time ago. And I can see some of you were, so we'll move this along so you guys can get celebrated. When Kennedy called and asked me to do this, immediately my stomach dropped out and I got super nervous. And then I remembered the advice that I gave my career students that didn't want to speak. And that was, get over it. Brilliant, right? My poor daughter. That's what she's going to have to deal with. But it's the best I had, so here I am. Mr. Bashler gave you a little bit of my background. I'll give you a little bit more detail so you kind of know where I'm coming from. I did graduate here from PW. After PW, I went to Michigan State. I got an engineering degree and a manufacturing management degree. While I was at Michigan State, I started co-opting with General Motors, and then I continued to work for them after I graduated. I worked for them for 10 years, with my student time included. And then at that time decided that I was going to go back to school to be a teacher. So I went to U of M for 1 year. Go green. Just need to clarify. And then I started teaching here at PW. 3 years after I started teaching here, I was married to Ryan Bengel. And 3 years after that, I was pregnant with our first child. And then just this past year, I left teaching to stay home and raise her. And she is now 7 months old. So, it gives you a little bit of background, kind of fills in the blanks. There are 3 things that I have been thinking about over and over and over that kept coming up over the last couple months. So that's what you're going to get today. So the first one is this. There's a really good chance that life might not follow your exact plan. But that's okay. In fact, that is very exciting because there is a plan for you, and there is more possibilities and more opportunities and more excitement than you could possibly imagine at this time. I can say that life did not follow my exact plan. In fact, when I was sitting in your seat, I knew exactly what I wanted. I don't know if Mr. Bashler mentioned it, 1997, some of you may have done the math. This is 20 years since I graduated. That is insane to me. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking that's more than double my age, right? It's true, I'm old. And you know somebody's old when they start talking about how fast time has gone. It has flown by. It feels like it's been about 5 years. But when I was sitting in your seat, I knew exactly what I wanted. I've always known what I wanted. And that was, I wanted to be my mom and my sister. I wanted to, after I graduated, I wanted to work a few years, pay off my degree, have a big family, and I wanted to stay home and raise them. Excuse me, I don't know why. I'm proud of my mom and my sister. And if you would have told me 20 years ago that I would have just now had my first child, first of all, I don't think I would have believed you. But second, I think I would have been a little angry. And the truth is that I'm not angry. I wake up every day knowing and believing and feeling that I'm one of the most blessed people that I know. I know now that there was a very different plan for me, and it was filled with more blessings than I had any idea was possible. So one of the first things that did not go as I expected. I didn't expect it to take about an extra 10 years or so for me to be married. But I know now that it was worth the wait. I know that Ryan is absolutely the person that I'm meant to be with. And I truthfully do not believe that either one of us would have recognized each other any sooner in our lives. There was no other time for it to happen. The next thing I didn't expect it to take us about 3 years to have our first child. I think that both of us believed that once we had finally found each other, that we would start a family right away. But I can tell you now that, that our marriage is stronger, our faith is stronger, our communication is better. I can tell you that I had absolutely no idea what it felt like to receive the prayers and the generosity of so many people around us. We both believe that our daughter is a miracle, and I think that we cherish her more than we ever knew was possible. And the third thing that I didn't expect to happen was I didn't expect to be a teacher. I did not expect to be standing on the stage. That is for sure. But I can tell you that if I would have been married sooner, I likely would not have gone back to be a teacher. And if I would have had Hayden sooner, I likely would not have taught as long. And I would have missed out on meeting about 400 to 500 of you. I have been so blessed by teaching, and I'm sure you guys think she's just saying that, so I'll back it up. But I want to think about this class specifically. I have been so blessed by this class. I had learned something from every single class that I taught. But when I was thinking about this class, I asked Mrs. Hanksbrook for the class list because I wanted to make sure I thought of all of you. And I wanted to think about exactly what I learned from you. And as I was going through that list, over and over and over again, I thought compassion and kindness and selflessness. And I think that that's really amazing because I know that for this class, life has not gone exactly like you guys have